So in a state where home grows are legal, there are some people that are taking it to the next level. Instead of 4 plants per household, they're doing tens of thousands. Some of them indoor, some of them outdoor. And that has led Oregon police to crack down on home grows. And they're getting super sneaky because they've traded in the big old helicopters that everyone could see and hear for some really sneaky aerial camera drones. But it turns out that those drones were illegal.
A developing story tonight, a group of alleged cannabis growers are set to face charges after Oregon State Police raided a marijuana grow site in southern Klamath County this week. Police say they seized 22,000 plants and uncovered evidence of water theft. The suspected grow operation was on a 150-acre property near Malin in Klamath County. Police say they had no permit to legally grow cannabis on the property, and they think the grow relied on stolen water and possibly the unlawful use of groundwater. Police are calling the water use wasteful and unsustainable. The Board of Commissioners in Josephine County is warning Oregon Governor Kate Brown about an ongoing problem of so-called narco-slavery that they're seeing. Narco-slavery is when organized crime networks traffic, exploit, and abuse laborers. Commissioners say that they've seen a surge in the problem relating to illegal cannabis operations that have been the subject of recent raids. They're asking the governor for help in cracking down on the problem.
Now guys, this is really interesting because that clip that I just showed you guys was literally from 4 years ago over in Oregon. And what we're seeing currently is a trend which sort of mirrors that incident which happened 4 years back. In particular where they're talking about that narco slavery, because just last month we reported on Glasshouse Farms over in California and the fact that they were using underage illegal workers, and that led to raids, deportations, and obviously Glasshouse being in the news. So it's really interesting to hear that across multiple states there's illegal immigration that's being taken advantage of, and some of these illegal immigrant workers are being forced to work on these farms in less than satisfactory conditions. Now, police over in Oregon searching out illegal grows is nothing new. Have a look at this clip from literally 12 years ago where they were also searching by air for some of these illegal operations. Check it out.
Unit 8 investigation, the war on drugs from the air. Police are patrolling the skies looking for marijuana grow operations. Investigators warn major drug cartels are setting up huge plantations on public land. They're armed, they're dangerous, and they're putting hunters and hikers at risk. Here's News Channel 8's Kyle Liboshi. Kyle?
Tracy, to find out what police are looking for, we spent a day flying with the Oregon National Guard. State police and local drug cops gave us rare access, including never-before-seen video of a grow operation being dismantled. We lift off from an undisclosed location in Polk County, and within minutes, undercover drug cops show us what they're up against. Remote, rugged mountains in Oregon's Coast Range, the perfect hiding spot for large-scale marijuana grow operations.
Look below and see what we have to deal with. Tell me you don't need a helicopter to help you out marijuana.
The Oregon National Guard helicopter buzzes the ridgeline, while a spotter peers below. He's looking for the telltale signs of a grow.
It has a distinct color and a different shape than everything else. I look for that. I look for disturbed ground that shouldn't be disturbed where it's at, things like that.
Finding these operations is not easy. This photo shows a huge grow with thousands of plants hidden among trees.
The trafficking operations know that police are looking for them, so they go to great lengths to try and hide their grow operations.
Often they use canopies or other vegetation to try and avoid detection from the air. But once they're spotted, a SWAT team moves in.
Recording here.
This state police video, obtained by News Channel 8, shows investigators dismantling an operation. Last year, police confiscated more than 125,000 marijuana plants on public land. Intelligence reports suggest most are run by Mexican drug trafficking organizations. There's big money at stake, and the drug cartels mean business.
We've seen people, growers in the past, that have been armed with assault rifles, scoped rifles. They conduct active counter surveillance.
Investigators have also found a variety of booby traps.
Anything from explosive devices to just rigged up shotgun shells.
They worry about hunters or hikers stumbling into a drug operation.
The growers are willing at most cost or any cost to protect their crop.
The growers rig up water sources and douse their plants and the surrounding forest with commercial-grade fertilizers and pesticides.
Some of them come from outside the country. they're so harmful that we treat them as hazard chemicals. So we have a response similar to a meth lab cleanup.
And this is what's left behind. Heaps of trash and chemicals leaching into the ground, polluting soil and streams. This public land, remote and largely untouched, has become home base for drug cartels.
So like I said, guys, that ain't nothing new. They've been searching in the air for a long time now and uprooting a lot of these illegal grow operations. Now I'm going to show you guys what they do with some of these grow operations when they find them, and also why this particular instance was so much different, because they were using some of these aerial cameras that were deemed unlawful. But before we do, just a quick reminder, if you're getting value from this video, please do like, share and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support us further, join the ICANN VIP Bean Club or just buy us a cup of coffee. And if you happen to be a home gardener, try the ICANN Organics, use the code LEGAL, it works from the bundle and the beans.
Last night we talked about how the illegal marijuana market is exploding in southern Oregon. In fact, leaders from Jackson County are asking the state for more than $7 million to try and tackle it. That money would cover extra code enforcers, more deputies, more staff for the district attorney's office, and more funding for the water master's office, since illegal grow sites often steal water. Predictably, a lot of you had great questions about this. Patsy asked, what happens to all the illegal marijuana found in Klamath and Jackson counties? Patsy, great question. So authorities say usually that marijuana is completely destroyed. For example, we told you about an illegal bust in Klamath County last month where cops found more than 17,000 pounds, just a casual photo there. All of that marijuana, they say, for example, was completely destroyed by the county's waste management landfill services.
So the number of plants that they're finding is not just 10 or 20 or even a couple hundred. It's tens of thousands. And there have been reports on situations like these in the past, and in those reports, a lot of folks are citing Mexican cartels and the Chinese mafia for moving into these legal states and setting up these illegal grow operations. So what they're doing is using the cover of a legal state, they're moving into that legal state and they're setting up these grows. But obviously they're not following the plant count limits of these states, and in so doing they're skirting the laws. Now in a lot of these situations, when the police move in, they literally bulldoze everything. As you guys can see up on screen, there are a lot of nice set up grow houses and greenhouses, outdoors, some of them indoors. We've reported on these in the past. But what we're finding is that the common theme is that a lot of them are setting up tons of plants in these operations, and some of them are diverting water, some of them are diverting electricity, and some of them are using harmful chemical pesticides and fertilizers. So you got to ask yourself, in a situation like this, which is really hard to see all of these beautiful plants being destroyed, is there not a better way that we can deal with this situation, or just go about it to prevent a lot of these things from happening, but also to protect the consumers and to protect the community? Because just look at it, man, it looks absolutely heart-wrenching just to see a lot of these beautiful plants being destroyed. Now these plants are not the only things being destroyed in these operations, because there's tons of livestock, wild animals, cattle, herds and all types that are also being malnourished. Now I want to show you guys how crazy it is that those animals are suffering, but before we do, have a look at this. This is the article where the Oregon police improperly used aerial cameras to bust some of these crows, and this actually ended up in court, and the court ruling was pretty interesting.
Tonight an Oregon appeals court rules Oregon State Police unlawfully used aerial surveillance in a 2021 marijuana bust.
Because in this decision, the court deemed that using warrantless technology enhanced surveillance to bust illegal grow operations is actually not just controversial, but unlawful. Now this issue involves Senate Bill 238, which would have extended the unprecedented power of the police to use unmanned aerial surveillance devices like drones when responding to 911 calls, executing warrants, or responding to exigent circumstances. But critics of this bill claim that it undermines basic rights, including privacy and free speech. Now, there's a lot of controversy about the use of drones and aerial cameras, and in this particular instance, the Oregon courts have held that officers can use aerial surveillance in illicit cases, but only if officers can identify plants without aids that enhance vision beyond what the naked eye can see. That has allowed them to perform inspections of different farms and suspected facilities from heights as low as 500 feet using tools like night vision and scopes to increase lighting. Now, the camera that they used in this particular situation was the Westcam MX10 camera, and the device still appears to be in favor with Oregon lawmakers who recently approved $1.2 million for state police to purchase another. And this is the camera up on screen right here. This is the air surveillance camera. And as you guys can see, you can get really close from really far away and even in low light conditions. Now, this case went all the way to the Court of Appeals, and they said that hopefully in the future, Oregon State Police will first seek a warrant to conduct this type of aerial surveillance, because in this particular situation, it was deemed unlawful.
Tonight, an Oregon Appeals Court rules Oregon State Police unlawfully used aerial surveillance in a 2021 marijuana bust.
An officer flew an aircraft with a military-grade camera to get photos of the operation in order to obtain a warrant. K2's Vasily Varlamos is live in Salem. So, Vasily, why was that deemed unlawful?
Yeah, so the courts found that the officer used surveillance technology to see inside the defendant's property. That allowed them to see evidence that wasn't visible with the naked eye. The use of aerial surveillance by Oregon State Police in the 2021 marijuana bust ruled unlawful by the Oregon Court of Appeals. Officers used a military-grade camera, a Westcam MX10, which can capture high-resolution thermal, visual, and laser-based images from high altitudes.
Essentially a high-powered camera on a stabilization platform on an aircraft.
Officers used the camera to take photos above the marijuana operation. Using the photos, they obtained a warrant and the defendant was charged.
Is that a type of technology that we want law enforcement to be able to utilize without a warrant? And I think the answer is no. And I think this case shows that.
The courts did not ban the use of these cameras, saying the decision is narrow and confined to the case. However, the court says officers must have secondary evidence along with aerial surveillance in the future to obtain a warrant. A spokesperson for the Oregon Department of Justice says they're reviewing the case and are considering their option to appeal. The ruling received praise from privacy advocates, fresh off a fight against Senate Bill 238, which would have expanded the police's ability to use aerial devices in response to 911 calls and executing a warrant. The bill passed the Oregon Senate, but died on the House side. In testimony, police departments across the state said the bill would enhance their ability to respond to calls quickly and safely. Those against said the expanded aerial ability lacks oversight and transparency.
Oregon should be leading the way in protecting civil liberties, not creating new laws that expand and allow unchecked government surveillance of Oregonians.
Now, we've reached out to OSP for comment and have not heard back. Now, recently, the Oregon legislature approved a $1.2 million purchase of new versions of this Westcam camera for Oregon State Police.
So clearly you guys can see how this can be a really tricky topic. So let me know what you guys think about that in the comments down below. But I want to show you guys, this is the malnourished livestock which was actually rescued from an illegal grow operation near Oregon City. Check it out.
New tonight, a major illegal marijuana farm bust near Oregon City is leaving some neighbors stunned. Fox 12's Connor McCarthy went to the property where hundreds of marijuana plants were seized and shows us what else was found.
Well, right down the road here behind me is the property Oregon State Police raided, finding 3 tons of marijuana, 6 horses, and a Lamborghini. Neighbors I spoke with say there were rumors the property was being used as an illegal marijuana farm, but now they're shocked those rumors could be true.
A Lambo?
This 75-acre property on South Credister Road, just outside of Oregon City, didn't seem suspicious to neighbors, but Oregon State Police say it was home to an illegal marijuana farm.
It was pretty shocking when he said that there was cops here and stuff. I was like, what's going on? You know, like, we didn't know what was going on.
Tyson Keller lives nearby. He says his neighbors are nice people and didn't think much of rumors that they were allegedly growing illegal marijuana.
They've lived here for quite a while and they're always, you know, willing to help out and stuff, so it was kind of shocking.
On Monday, Oregon State Police raided the property, seizing nearly 3,000 marijuana plants, 3 tons of bulk marijuana, 4 guns, 9 sick horses, a Lamborghini, and stolen property. The horses were taken to Sound Equine Options in Troutdale to be treated. A spokesperson for the Equine Center says it will take a while for some of the horses to get back to full health. Oregon State Police says the investigation started after 22 greenhouses were found that were not registered to grow marijuana.
It was kind of rumored, but no one knew if it was legal or illegal, so I guess there's our answer.
Now, this case is still being investigated by the Oregon State Police, but it has been referred to the Clackamas County District Attorney's Office. They are currently going over the case and possible animal abuse and felony charges.
So you guys can see how there are tons of things coming out from this one issue. From folks stealing electricity and water and diverting it to some of these operations, to malnourished livestock and animals that are being abused, but also flowers and plants that are being grown without oversight using tons of chemical fertilizers. And also a lot of times at these illegal operations, you'll find tons of other illegal things happening, such as human trafficking, sex trafficking, all other types of drug trafficking. It's just a whole mess. But drop it in the comments down below and let me know what you guys think about that. In particular, the fact that these police were improperly using the aerial cameras to bust these grows. Do you guys think that that's a step too far, or do you guys think that it's a good thing? Drop it in the comments down below and let me know. Now, you guys may have missed this, but a few episodes back, we shed light on something pretty crazy, and that's one of these activists here in America is spending millions of dollars to ban the good herb across the entire country. It's absolutely crazy, so if you haven't seen it, check it out because it's coming up right now.